Hello, my name is Philippe Ribaud-Nez. I'm a professor of history and head of Maynooth's Department of History. On behalf of all my colleagues, I would like to offer you a very warm welcome to the department in this virtual open day. One of the largest departments in Maynooth, history has a strong reputation for its student-centered approach, commitment to small group teaching, and vast array of choices when it comes to the modules to which you will have access as one of its students. The aim of this brief presentation is to give you a flavour of the department and its concerns, as well as of the degree structures which are on offer. In a speech delivered in April 2018, President Michael D. Higgins noted that, quote, "Knowledge and understanding of history is intrinsic to our shared citizenship. To be without such knowledge is to be permanently burdened with a lack of perspective, empathy, and wisdom," end quote. He added that a lack of historical training left, quote, "citizens desperately ill-equipped to confront a world in which information is increasingly disseminated without historical perspective or even regard for the truth," end quote. Here then is a perfect description of our mission as a department. And it is my sincere hope that we can live up to such lofty ideals every day. All of you will have studied history to junior cert. Many of you will have studied it to leaving cert level. What is the difference, you may ask, about studying history at school and then at university? The most important difference is that our teaching is underpinned by active research and publication. As we teach, we research and we write, and our teaching is a reflection of our research and our publications. As active researchers, we understand that history is current, it is contentious, and it is complicated. There isn't just one set narrative which we try to teach about an aspect of the past. Historians agree about very little. Thirdly, history at university attempts to examine, understand, and explain, but also to subvert, to suggest that maybe what you know isn't exactly correct, and that there might be other ways of telling the same story which are equally as valid. Finally, history requires curiosity, objectivity, and independence on the part of its students. You must be willing to weigh the evidence before you, which is never as complete as you would like it to be.
Hello, I am Dr. Beatriz Cutaro. I am a lecturer in history at Maynooth, and I am particularly interested in migration in Europe. I would like to say a few words about what we do here in the history department. One of our objectives is to help you acquire the analytical tools that are necessary to reach your own conclusion in the face of contradictory evidence. For example, there's been a lot of discussion lately about fake news in relation to Donald Trump, but also more recently about Facebook. Also, when we think about climate change, we have those who say we need to act now and argue for climate justice, such as Greta Thunberg. But on the other side, we also have climate change deniers, who sometimes argue Greta is either manipulated or a spy for the US, for China, for Russia, or whatever country is the enemy at the moment. But fake news or propaganda are not new and can be found throughout history. So, how do we distinguish fact from fiction? How do we see through others' agendas, be they political, religious, or even commercial? Or how do we distinguish reliable information from disinformation? Now, you will be able to answer all of these questions and apply your skills when looking at the past, but also at the present. Also, for a very long time, history has been written by and about the powerful, those that could, over time, have their views and opinions recorded. But they were just a small fraction of all of those who lived before us. And this is why In our work and in our teaching, we try to recover, to understand, and to analyze the views of all. We look not only at high history, but also at the experiences of women, children, or the enslaved, at fashion or different forms of art. And these are just some examples among many other fascinating perspectives you will be able to explore at Maynooth.
Why study history at Maynooth? History is a very popular choice within the arts degree, and there are no special requirements for access to the department. It is a very large department. We have some 16 or 17, depends on the year, full-time members of staff and a number of occasional lecturers and a very large number of tutors. All of this means that once you get through to second year, you have a very, very significant range of subjects to choose from, which I think is unmatched by any other department. It is also the case that being a large department, we are able to maintain a commitment to small group teaching in the shape of tutorials and what we call elective subjects. This holds true for the entirety of your degree, and it means that you get a constant chance to participate in class, to debate, and to hone your arguments. You're not just in the middle of a very large lecture room surrounded by dozens or hundreds of people. Then we equip you with very important transferable skills. For example, the ability to locate and interpret relevant sources, to analyze those sources in light of the context in which they were produced, and to marshal arguments in a logical, convincing manner that is grounded in academic practices of the highest order. Any job in which your mission is to convince people of a point and to convince them on the basis of evidence which you have gone out and found for yourself and turned into an argument is a job for which you are excellently prepared by having studied history at university. Finally, history can be pursued at a variety of levels within the Maynooth degree, as a single major, as a double major, as a major, or as a minor. Your future lecturers in the Department of History at Maynooth have a national and international reputation for the quality of their research. They publish far and wide on subjects as diverse as the decolonization of Southern Africa, the effects of the First World War on Yugoslavia, the production of silver and other material commodities in Dublin, emigration between Ireland, Britain, and the rest of the world, the land question in Ireland in the 19th and 20th century, military strategy and tactics, the career of Lawrence of Arabia. There is immense variety in what we research and therefore in what we teach. Most students who do history in first year do it as one of 4 subjects. In that case, they do in the first semester HY 121, Introduction to Medieval History, and in the second semester HY 122, Themes in History, Globalization. These modules are taught by way of 2 weekly lectures and 1 weekly tutorial, which is a small group of about 12 students or so who go over in greater detail the subject covered in the lecture and also write a number of assignments. Some students, though, choose to do twice as much history, what is called the single major path. In that case, they have another 2 modules, 1 per semester, which focus on acquiring certain skills which are characteristic of the historian. HY 131, the practice of history, and HY 132, documents in history. In second year, as I've mentioned before, the experience of the history degree changes radically. And suddenly a great deal of choice enters into the equation. All students who are doing history as part of a double major do 3 modules per semester. One is common to everybody, and it's what we call a core module. These include and focus on the early modern period, be it in Ireland and Great Britain on the one hand, or Europe on the other. There are then what we call special topics, of which you'll do 1 per semester. These are lectures and are assessed by exam. They cover items such as Ireland in the 19th and 20th century, Europe from 1911 to 1945, and Europe since 1945, and American History 1 and 2. You're also asked to do 1 elective per semester, and these are much smaller groups. They'll be in the region of about 30 students or so, and they focus on your lecturer's own research interests. So they're in many ways the most exciting of all the modules. They include, for example, the welfare of ordinary people in Ireland from 1800 to the famine, the history of health and medicine, the Arab-Israeli conflict, modern Ireland population trends and the impact of migration, the Great Famine, domestic worlds, the Georgians at home, Ireland in prehistory, witchcraft in Europe, 1459 to 1650, picturing the Renaissance, slavery and anti-slavery in the British world, the birth and death of Yugoslavia, and the history of suicide, a global phenomenon, and other modules might be added to that mix. A similar approach is taken in 3rd year. All students share the core modules, which, as in 1st and 2nd year, are divided between lectures and tutorials. They choose 1 special topic per semester, which might include topics like emigration and 19th and 20th century Irish society, history of the modern Middle East, the social history of Northern Ireland, the global Cold War, Tudor Ireland or 18th century Ireland, and as before, one elective module per semester. These can include the Holy Roman Empire 1 and 2, environment and culture in American history, the 18th century material culture, Irish migrants in the early modern world, life under a red star, politics, culture and society in communist Eastern Europe, the decline and rise of the Irish country house, towns in medieval Ireland, health and medicine in 19th and 20th century Ireland, anti-colonial resistance in the modern Middle East, or the Troubles in Northern Ireland. As I said before, history can be done as a double major, so you're doing history and another subject in 2nd and 3rd year, as a major or a minor with another subject, in which the credits that you do vary between the 2 subjects, or you could go all out for history and do it as your single major. If you do that, you can always allocate a small number of credits to another subject, for example, a foreign language. But by and by, what you're doing is more of our modules to make up your entire degree. There are dedicated modules which you will have to do if you're a single major student. These include historiography and the handlings of documents. But there is also what we call HY 301, the dissertation. This is a year-long research project, sort of a mini thesis, some 10,000 words long, which is supervised by a member of the lecturing staff. You also have, in the 1st semester, a series of tutorials on how to put such a large essay together, how to find documentation, how to best use the library and its resources, how to organize your thoughts and your bibliography and everything else. So this is quite a significant piece of work, which will let you really evaluate by the end of it whether or not you want to continue into research as a career. The dissertation, it should be noted, is open as well to high achievers who are doing double honours or history as a major. If you get a sufficiently high mark in second year, you're allowed to do the dissertation, in which case you are attending fewer modules. The study of the past isn't limited to the Department of History, and the Department of History is proud and very, very happy to collaborate with other departments in our Faculty of Arts. Other departments who cover the past and who offer modules in which a systematic study of the past is undertaken. These include the following. In the Early Irish Department, modules such as History of Ireland from St. Patrick to the Battle of Clontarf, Law, Society and Learned Classes in Early Ireland, or the Viking World. And in the Classics Department, our students are allowed to choose from Power and the People in Imperial Rome, Understanding Thucydides, the Flowering of Greek Historiography, Fire from Heaven, the Rise of Macedonia and Alexander the Great, and A World Full of Gods, Religious Life in the Roman Empire. So these modules can be undertaken in other departments as part of your history degree.
If you'd like to know more about the department, what it offers and its structures, you can visit the department's website, mentioned first on this slide, maynoothuniversity.ie/history. You can also follow us on Facebook or Twitter and get a better idea of who your future lecturers are, what they are interested in, what they do. You can also contact us directly with any questions you might have about the program. And you can reach us at history.department@maynooth.ie, the email address written here last on the slide. We would love to hear directly from you. And of course, we look forward to seeing you here next year as first-year students in the history department.